Alright, testing, 有聲. Okay, now we are going into part 5 of our ADAS video, in which this time I suggest you should slow down and make sure you understand what is going on in this video, because this video we are covering a very important and very difficult concept of the inflationary gap and deflationary gap of ADAS. Okay, so let's get ready. Now here, first let's start with now we talk about AD. We talk about AS, right? Now, this time, you need to remember when they put together, things get very complicated because unlike demand supply, we have two equilibria to take care of, okay? Now, first equilibrium. Now, first of all, price level, Y output level. First one. Now, obviously, AD, we only have one AD, right? And then here, we have an SRAS curve. Now, when AD and SRAS intersect, okay, this would be our price level, and this would be our output level. Now, things would be very simple if it looks like this. Unfortunately, we also have one more curve to talk about. We call it the long run AS, the LRAS curve. Okay, now the Y, the output level of long run AS, we call it the YF. And in this case, the so-called short run equilibrium and long run equilibrium are the same. Y equals to YF. So this is the simple case. Now, immediately, you may be thinking, is it possible for LRAS to be on the right-hand side of this cross or left-hand side of this cross? Yes, and that is the difficult part. Now, 我哋一陣間睇好唔好啊? Now, here, let's look at this table. We complete. Now, we try to complete this table first. Now, this table, let's chop it up. Okay, let's chop it up. Let's talk about short run and long run separately. Okay, now short run, what happens? Now, yes, let me draw for you one for one. Now this time it's easier to look at it from the perspective using a diagram. Okay, because the explanation, you need the understanding of a so-called inflationary gap and deflationary gap. Now, first, we talk about AD increases. What happens to price level and output level in the short run? Now, when we talk about in the short run, we are talking about this. Okay, this is our. Let me see. This is price level. This is Y. Now, in the short run, we only look at short run AS and AD. Right? 好啦，睇下發生咩事咯喎。Now, originally at here. Now, we need AD to increase. Right? 係咪啊 ？AD 1去 AD 2啦。So, price level in short run goes up. Output level in short run also goes up. Exactly the same as we talk about in our demand supply. Now, therefore, AD increases in the short run, price level increase, output level increase. What about in the long run? What happens? Now, this one, let's see. 咁 long run 會發生咩事啊? Now, when we talk about in the long run, okay, when we talk about in the long run, 咦，黐線 price level, sorry ah. Now, in the long run, we only draw long run AS. Okay, so we have an AD1. This is our price level 1. This is our Y1. Now, increase in AD. What happens? Price level goes up, but Y2, the new so-called output level, actually remains unchanged, as seen in this diagram. Now, therefore, you will see, in the long run, price level goes up, but output level will not be affected. Okay, then let's look at short run AS now. Okay, 好嘛，我哋睇下 short run 啦。Now, what happens if short run AS increases? 嗱，我哋望望發生咩事啦。Now, this time also this is our AD. Now, when we talk about short run, we only draw the short run. Price level, why? Now this is a short run AS, SRAS 1. Price level 1, output level 1. So, increase in short run AS. Okay, price level actually goes down and output level go up, as seen in this diagram, right? Basically the same as demand supply, 係咪? So far, the same as demand supply. Now therefore, short run AS goes up, short run price level goes down, output level goes up. For long run, let's skip it for now. Okay, 我哋而家唔睇住。We need to understand deflationary gap and inflationary gap first. Okay, now finally, what happens when long run AS goes up? Now, obviously, long run AS, so we don't have to talk about short run. 冇 short run 啊，我哋講緊 long run 啊嘛，係嘛？ So, for one final time, let's look at what happens. Now, we are talking about increase in the long run AS. Therefore, this is price level, this is Y. We have our LRAS, and we have our AD curve. Now, originally, this is P1, Y1. Now, what happens when long run AS goes up to number 2 here? Then, price level goes down, output level goes up. Okay, as shown in this diagram. 係咪啊? Now, therefore, you see, in long run, price level, when LRAS go up, price level goes down, output level go up. Now, the difficult part is actually this guy. This guy. This is the difficult part. 係嘛？原來最難啊係呢個啊。To certain extent, this is also difficult. These two, because the green ones, it requires the understanding of deflationary gap and inflationary gap. Now, let me give you the answers first, and then we go straight into inflationary gap and deflationary gap. Now, in long run, if short run AS increases in the long run, in fact, there would be no effect to both price level and output level. 廢啊，講得簡單啲，long run 嚟講。Okay, so how come it is like this? We need to look at the next page. Inflationary gap and deflationary gap. Okay, now, last diagram. This is a good case, right? Because YF and Y, they are the same. But sometimes YF and Y, the short run and long run equilibria are not the same. Then we are talking about adjustment would have to be made to close the gap. Now, please note that the following two explanation works for market self-adjustment. Meaning, the government do nothing, then the market will adjust itself. But does it have to be that way? No. The government can also adjust it by doing some policies, in which we are going to talk about that in part 6 of our video. Okay, 而家唔講住。We only assume the government do nothing. 我哋假設而家政府乜都唔做，係咪？政府嘅市場會點做啊？ Now, inflationary gap. Okay, now first of all, write it down. When we talk about inflationary gap, we are talking about when Y is bigger than our potential output. Right? Now, graphical representation first. price level. Now make sure you draw it right. 小心啲啊 ，OK? So this is an AD. This is our SRAS 1， 我哋叫 SRAS 1好嘛？ Now this is our Y， 唔係 Y1。Now we are talking about Y bigger than YF. Therefore, let's put our LRAS here. This is YF. Now you see, Y bigger than YF. Now, right? Y bigger than YF. This gap is what we call the inflationary gap. Now, how do we decide? We can think like this using human language. YF, potential output, is kind of like the goal of a, let's say, of an economy. 係呢個經濟嘅目標。For some reason, okay, or the limit, okay, the limit, the goal. For some reason, we are doing better than the limit. What does that mean? It means that this economy is doing too good. We call it the overheated economy or overperforming economy. 即係咩意思啊？原來你個經濟根本冇呢個實力去支撐住呢個 output level 嘅。OK, overheated. Pretty much Hong Kong. Think about it. Hong Kong, the property price keeps going up and up and up. 樓價不斷升。But then, do we have the purchasing power? Do we have the power to support it? No. That's what we call overheated. 係太過旺盛㗎，我哋根本冇呢個實力去支撐住㗎。Okay, so this is the inflationary gap. This part. 喂，成日窒機做乜事啊 ？Okay, this is the inflationary gap. So, what happens when the market adjusts? Now, the market, when they adjust, they would adjust the short-run AS. Now, when market self-adjusts, always SRAS. Okay? The S 啊，一陣間先解點解。The short-run AS would go down. SRAS would go down to a point in which finally it goes back. Y2 goes back to YF. This is the graphical representation. Okay? This is a graphical representation. Now, how to explain the shift of SRAS? Now, let me start with step 0. Now, this is not required in your exam. 嗱，考試唔使寫呢句嘅。I just, of course, depending on, actually, no. Let's make it a habit. Step 1. We need to say this is an inflationary gap. Y bigger than YF. Now you can think like this. We are overperforming. 做得太好啦。Therefore, what would it means? It means if the economy is so good, then the employer 嗰啲請人嗰啲會點啊 ？Would employ too much because performing too well, therefore employing too much. Now in exam, you write in a better way. We say employing too much translate into economic terms. We call it. It means there will be an excess demand for labor. No, sorry, not labor. For factors. 個個見市道好，個個都想開公司，咁咪個個都要啲 factor 咯，請人買機器咯，係嘛 ？So you learn in your demand supply. When there is an excess demand, what happens? The price would be pushed up. There would be a upward pressure for factor prices. Now eventually, what happens? Because this factor price goes up, it means production costs would also go up. When production cost goes up, it means SRAS would go down back to Y equals to YF， 係咪啊？佢會彈翻轉頭咯。嚟多次，咩意思呢？ Inflationary gap 即係經濟做得太好 ，overperforming， the economy overperforming。When it's overperforming 做得太好，即係咩意思啊？啲老闆就會好樂觀，請得太多人啦，買得太多機器啦。They are too optimistic, employing too much factor. Translating into economic terms, it means there will be an excess demand for factors. 係咪過剩啊？ When there is excess demand, in your demand supply chapter, you remember, excess demand, the price would go up, upward pressure for factor price. Eventually, it means that our production cost, factor price, would go up. When production costs go up, short run AS goes down until Y equals to YF. Exactly what we are doing right here. Okay, so this is inflationary gap. Deflationary gap 啊，嚟多次。How come it's called inflationary gap? That is actually very easy to understand. Look at here. This is price level 1. What happens to later? Price level 2. It goes up. This is inflation. 係嘛? That's so-called inflation. Now, not exactly inflation. Increase in price level. Okay, 係咪？看似 inflation 啦，呢個係咪？ So we call it inflationary gap. Now that is why in the previous page we say when AD goes up in the long run, you see output level will not change, right? Imagine there is an AD curve. It goes up like this in the short run, but in the long run, the SRAS will adjust so that price level would go up again, but output doesn't change. 呢個就係我哋之前嘅 table short run long run 嗰格啦。OK， 好唔好啊？ Now, deflationary gap is just the opposite. Okay, basically, deflationary gap means Y smaller than YF, underperforming. Okay, graphically goes like this. Our AD, okay, and then we have our SRAS 1. Now, since we are talking about Y smaller than YF, it will be here, LRAS. Okay, LRAS will be here. YF is here. Y is here. You see, Y is smaller than YF. This is our deflationary gap. Okay, this is our deflationary gap. So eventually what happens? The market will adjust by moving SRAS. Therefore, it goes to here. Y1 will shift to Y2, which is exactly the same as YF here. Okay? And why it is called a deflationary gap? Look at the price level. This is P1 and then P2. It goes down, kind of like a deflation. 係咪啊？平咗通縮啦，知唔知啊？ The explanation, you can copy the above one and just change the wordings. Okay? Now, step number 1, this is a deflationary gap. This is basically a deflationary gap. Now, what does that mean? It means, now you can think the same way. Deflationary gap, it means we are underperforming. Now, therefore, the employers will be pessimistic and employ too few people or machine, something like that. Okay, it means excess supply of factors. For factors, okay, this is excess supply for factors， 係嘛？即係咩啊 ？unemployment 咯 ，basically unemployment basically right now when there is excess supply there will be a downward pressure for factor prices. Oh, it should be on, right? On, right? And this one on, right? 係咪啊 downward pressure on factor prices. So eventually, because factor price goes down, production cost also goes down. It means SRAS would go up until Y equals to YF again. Right? Basically, the opposite of what we have in inflationary gap. Okay, again, this page, please make sure you recite 100%. You must know how to draw the diagram. You must remember inflationary gap means Y bigger than YF. You must know how to explain the shift of SRAS by market force. 好重要㗎呢啲，得唔得？ You must know. Okay, so in case you still confused, I suggest you rewind the video and look at it again until you are good to go into the examples we are going to look at. Okay, 你 make sure 自己識先好繼續睇落去嘅，講真嘅。Okay, now for those of you who are okay, let's look at some examples of the past papers. All right, now first, 2013, given a diagram like this, YF, Y. So what happens? You see, what do we call this gap? Y bigger than YF. This is an inflationary gap. 係咪啊？呢個咪我哋 inflationary gap 咯。Now, therefore, answer would be A or B, not C and D. How do we restore it back into equilibrium? Now, basically, we need to either push up YF or we need to push down our Y, right? So let's see. A rise in transfer payment to the poor, it only pushed YD up. When disposable income increases, AD increases. What does that mean? Y will further go up. So this is not the answer we want. It should be B. Now, 記住啦，乜 rate, whatever rate increases, AD decreases. That means Y would decrease. 係嘛? Exactly what we want. We want to push down. We want to push down our AD curve until it hit this point. Right? This is what we want. 係咪啊? This is our option B. Exactly what they are doing. 咦？頭先我哋唔係話 SRAS 咩 ？Again, this is not market force. This is a government intervention, a policy. OK， 佢係做咗 policy 㗎，所以佢係未必喐 SRAS 啊。But if market force, then it should be SRAS itself moving, not AD. OK, this is a policy by government. OK， 好嘛？ Now, next one. Initially operates at full employment equilibrium. Now it means Y equals to YF basically. Right? Now, next sentence, cross it out. Leave it for chapter 20. Now, will result in a deflationary gap. Budget deficit, forget about it. So we need to see which one can possibly lead to a deflationary gap. Now, what is a deflationary gap? We call deflationary gap means y smaller than yf. If we need it to result in a deflationary gap, we either need to push y down or push yf up in order to have a deflationary gap. Right? 係嘛? So let's see. Reduction in taxes. Now, let's say this is indirect tax. Makes our life simple, right? Indirect tax, it would move SRAS up, right? Therefore, Y would go up. Well, this is definitely an inflationary gap in this case. So, not A. Now, what about B? Reduction in money supply. When money supply decreases, interest rate goes up. Therefore, AD goes up. AD goes up, meaning Y would go... sorry. AD goes down. I'm so sorry. Y would goes down. So, yes, this is a deflationary gap. Now, but we don't know whether this is the answer because we have skipped part of it, right? 我哋未識嘅。C, a reduction in government expenditure. G decreases, AD decreases, Y decreases. Therefore, this is also a deflationary gap. Reduction in desire to import. Now, meaning import decrease, NX increases, AD increases, Y increases. So, no, this is an inflationary gap. OK， 嗱呢條做唔到嘅，我哋唔識嘅，我哋淨係做到啲 gap 啫，好嘛 ？OK， so next one. 2 more MCs and 1 more long question, and then we are done with this video. Okay, now deflationary gap. What does that mean? Now, if you are really good, you should be able to spot the answer immediately. 點解叫 deflationary gap 啊？ Basically, price level goes down. Therefore, C would be the answer. Right? Look at C. Will result in a downward pressure on the price of inputs. Now, in fact, both inputs and eventually outputs would go down in price. Now, therefore, C would be the answer. Right? A, let's say, will be widened. 係咪條 gap 會闊咗啦 when there is a depreciation of domestic currency. Now, think about it. Deflationary gap, what does that mean? Y smaller than YF. Now, local depre. Several videos ago, right? I think it's 3 videos ago. I talk about local depre, meaning AD goes up. AD goes up, Y goes up. When Y goes up, it should narrow the gap. Therefore, A is not correct. B will be eliminated by a rightward shift of aggregate demand curve. This is correct. 因為我哋點啊？我哋想收窄條距離啊嘛，係咪要 Y 上升啊？ This part is correct. What is wrong is the next part. When the market adjusts from short run to long run, right? No, this is not correct. Why? Because market adjustment, I talk about, it should be SRAS, not AD curve. 唔係 AD 㗎。Market adjust 係咪 adjust SRAS 㗎 ？Okay, so the first part is correct, second part is wrong. 後面唔啱啦。Finally, will exist if AD falls short of the short run. 嗱，冇呢咁嘅事，冇啊 fall short 㗎。In ADAS, there is no such concept as 嗱，呢度想講咩啊？嗰啲咩 shortage 啊、surplus 啊嗰啲啫，其實想講咩 shortage 啊、surplus 啊。No, there is no such concept as shortage and surplus in ADAS. OK， 冇呢咁嘅嘢直頭。Now, 2017, this time, given a ADAS curve like this, Y here, YF here. Again, Y smaller than YF. We call this the deflationary gap 係咪啊 ？Y 細過 YF 啦，而家 deflationary gap. Now let's see. If the government decrease social security assistance to the elderly, so what happens here? Social security assistance lower. It means disposable income would be lower. Fewer C and AD would goes down. AD goes down, Y would go down. Therefore, what happens to the what happens to the deflationary gap? Well, deflationary gap should become wider. 係咪應該仲肥咗啊？而家呢條 deflationary gap, right? Let's say the Y goes to here, then the deflationary gap will become like this, right? Will be wider. 嗱，後面我哋唔好理啦，係嘛？嗱 ，this we don't know yet. We only know is either B or D. OK， 後面未學嘅唔好理住啦。Alright, now finally, let's look at one long question. The long question says that someone said Hong Kong, the diagram is like this. Y, now here, Y bigger than YF. This is an inflationary gap, right? Part C, someone states that without the without the help of the government, market force can restore the economy to its long-run equilibrium. Now, remember, market force, we are talking about SRAS. Okay? Now, without using a diagram, explain how market force can lower the output, right? Then, how to write it? Just copy the 4 steps. And here, because I want more practice, so let's copy again. We know this is an inflationary gap. What does that mean? Now, in our mind, we know this is overperforming. Now, therefore, since overperforming, the bosses would be too optimistic. 係咪太過樂觀啊? So, there will be an excess demand in factor market. Factor market by excess demand 咯。Now, because of excess demand, there will be an upward pressure on factor prices. So eventually, 最後會發生咩事啊? Eventually, production costs would go up, meaning SRAS would fall until Y equals to YF again, restoring to long-run equilibrium. 係咁寫嘅啫，將頭先嗰啲抄翻落去啊！嗱，唔信你自己揾翻個 marking scheme。OK， 好嘛 ？So you see, you need to remember these 4 steps, or else you will lose these 4 marks. 直接呢4分唔使要噶啦，好嘛 ？So in this video, we look at a very important concept of inflationary gap and deflationary gap when it's on the other side. Okay, make sure you understand the content of this video. Okay, so in the next final video, we are going to move on into some applications of ADAS when we talk about partially fiscal policies and monetary policies. Okay, again, this will be talked about in chapter 22. But until then, I will see you again in the next video. Bye bye.